people, you know?
What the They killed him? Did they kill that guy? Are you kidding me, dude? Not again. Are you kidding me? That guy's dead.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
Federal officials were trying to make an arrest. They had this young man, 37-year-old white man, American, on the ground. They were trying to arrest him. There were several agents around him. And then suddenly they backed off. And you could tell in that moment that they saw something or something spooked them because they all back off all of a sudden. And then you hear shots fired. What do you make of this video?
It's really, from that angle, it's impossible to truly know what was happening. And you correctly pointed out, we don't know what led up to this, but it's for anybody who's a human being, seeing that it's incredibly disturbing, and frankly terrifying as a citizen. There are a couple of concepts that a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with when it comes to making an arrest. If one officer tries to take down an individual, and it's a one-on-one, it's most likely that individual or the officer or both will get injured. The training is more officers, the better in terms of trying to reduce the injuries and have somebody who is there that then will comply. But again, this is totally speculative. And what would be best if there were body cameras on these officers so they can tell what's going on specifically. And hopefully the Department of Homeland Security will provide more information about that. But given just, again, a broad analysis, they may have come up across on a weapon. And once a weapon, you've seen this in all the movies where someone yells gun, and now it stops and it changes the tempo because now there's deadly force right there.
Well, they did find they found a 9mm on him. That's what Homeland Security said. They released the picture of it to us. They found a 9mm. We don't know if it was loaded. We don't know if he reached for it. We just can't. That video, it's too difficult to tell what happened in that moment where those officers backed away. But he did have a gun on him.
This morning in Minneapolis, a federal border patrol agent shot and killed a 37-year-old USSSA citizen during a federal law enforcement operation. Officials from the Department of Homeland Security say the man approached the agents with a 9mm handgun and that officers tried to take the weapon away from him. They claim he resisted those efforts, and that is when an agent fired fatal shots. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara confirmed the man died after he was taken to the hospital. The person who was killed has been publicly identified as Alex Jeffrey Preddy, a 37-year-old intensive care nurse who worked at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Minneapolis. Colleagues and family say he was a dedicated healthcare worker with no serious criminal history and a legal permit to carry a firearm. Union representatives from the VA, where Preddy worked, say losing him has been devastating, and medical organizations are calling for a full and transparent investigation with findings shared publicly and with his family. Video circulated online from bystanders appears to show Preddy recording agents and being wrestled to the ground before shots are fired. And some analysts are now questioning the official account of what happened. Protests have already erupted in Minneapolis, and elected leaders, including Minnesota as governor, are criticizing the federal presence, saying this is the second fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by immigration-related agents in the city in recent weeks and demanding accountability. Right now, the country is split on this Minneapolis shooting. On the left, many are saying this man was completely innocent, that he was a U.S. citizen, an ICU nurse, and that federal agents escalated the situation unnecessarily. They argue this is another example of excessive force and federal overreach. On the right, the claim is very different. Federal officials say the man approached agents with a firearm. They say when officers tried to take the weapon away, he violently resisted, and an agent fired what they describe as defensive shots. believing their lives and the lives of other officers were in immediate danger. And here is the problem. Before anyone jumps to conclusions, before narratives harden on either side, there needs to be a truly independent, transparent investigation. One that looks at the facts, the video, the timeline, and the decisions made, without political bias from the left or the right. Because the truth does not belong to an ideology. It belongs to the facts. And until all the facts are out, outrage alone will not give us the real story. Now, with that context in mind, let us take a look at how another news outlet is reporting this story and what federal officials are officially claiming happened that led to this deadly encounter.
We have now confirmed that the man who was shot was ICU nurse Alex Preddy, and that is confirmed by his parents. And to his parents, I am so sorry for your loss. Regardless of the circumstances, to lose a child is the most horrific thing. But we can now confirm that the victim who was shot in this situation was Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse from Minneapolis, an American citizen, according to Chief Brian O'Hara.
I also want to say one more thing, because it is our duty to tell the truth, however we see it, right? And journalists get painted in many different lights these days. And I'll say this. What Commander Bavino said in his press conference and in the press release was that it appeared, according to DHS, that this man, what was his name?
Alex Preddy.
Preddy. Came there intending to harm officers. We have a picture of him. And the video shows him directing traffic. The next part of the video shows him trying to help a woman who got shoved by an officer and then resisting his own, I guess, detainment, if you will, and being sprayed in the face with pepper spray. The video does not appear to back up that statement.
You have not seen in the angles
None of us
that you have watched that he seemed to be threatening law enforcement.
And he may have been, I don't know, I have no clue.
Sure,
we can't prove any of that. But what I'm saying, the video shows a man directing traffic, helping a woman, and then sort of resisting his own detainment. That's what it shows.
All right, let us pause right there for a second, because what that reporter just said matters. Even they are acknowledging something important, that the video does not clearly back up the claim that this man was actively threatening law enforcement at that moment. What we can actually see on the footage is a man directing traffic, trying to help a woman who had just been shoved, and then resisting what appears to be his own detainment after being pepper sprayed. Now, that does not automatically mean he was innocent, and it does not automatically mean the agents were wrong either. The reporter even admits that. We do not know everything, and we cannot prove intent from this angle alone. But this is exactly why video evidence matters, and why narratives need to match what the public can actually see with their own eyes. At the end of the day, officers and agents are trained in de-escalation first, to calm situations down before they get out of hand. When someone is in distress, confused, or surrounded by armed agents, the goal should always be to reduce tension, not escalate it. That is why so many people are upset, because the video footage and the official narrative do not fully line up, and people deserve honest answers about what really happened. This is not about picking a side. It is about demanding the truth. Before anyone draws a final conclusion, we need a fully transparent, unbiased investigation that looks at all the evidence, hears all the witnesses, and does not start with a political assumption. That is how we get accountability and real answers. If you made it this far, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Did that federal agent have the right to shoot him? Let me know your take below.